I hope we can get. Yay! Hi, guys. So, this is my good friend, Amma, also known as Nana. She, just to introduce her a little bit, she is an amazing, amazing mom, beautiful mom of two. She's been a great friend to me, just a source of encouragement to me. But also, she's a social worker in her field. She's so well respected. She's worked all around London. She's worked on different cases, and she really has a passion for people. We're here with our children, so excuse us if our children like come in, but I just wanted to. She's worked with a lot of people with a lot of mental health issues and yeah, development, absolutely. But she's really she's one of those people who's recognized in her field for really supporting people with mental health issues. So I thought I would bring her on here just to really chat about certain issues. You know, I'm all about really exposing the real issues behind people's behaviors, especially as a Black African woman. And so me and her were just having a really good conversation, and she was just sharing about really unpacking the piece of self-worth and just how our beliefs and our values and how we were taught, really from upbringing, how that's influenced us. So like before I don't want to steal your thunder. I just wanted to, just to bring you on, just to share a little bit about what we were talking about in your own kind of way. I know you talked about how things that you've noticed in your profession, how we've been brought up, how that influences as Africans, really, Africans, because we're really talking about the African story here. So for a woman, just generally for your, just to ask you, why did you decide to go into social care?
Social work. Okay, so back in Ghana, observing how society works. We've had, I'm sure most Ghanaians, most Africans in general will, empathize or will also have the same experiences. We all have had things happen to us, happen to some family members, or happen to some friends that were just unjust. However, maybe we all just stood back and we knew it wasn't good, but we couldn't do anything about it. So for me, one thing that stood out for me was a friend that died. Now, she was called Helena. May her soul rest in peace. Helena's parent died. Her mom died. I knew that she was being raised by her mother. And then her mom unfortunately died. She was this beautiful girl with long hair, absolute gorgeous. She used to live in Tema. Those people who know Tema, it's a very plush environment. She was doing hairdressing. Her hair was always glossy. Beautiful Black woman, dark skin. She was just all-time beautiful girl. Then her mom died. When her mom died, her stepfather died. Then her father suddenly came back from Ivory Coast. And now looking back, I think he came back with HIV.
Wow.
So he was ill. The family somehow came up with this story that they've gone to research, and Helena was a witch. Okay.
Wow.
And everybody accused her. I think something broke in her. So she also believed that she was a witch.
So this man came back with a condition.
That was
which they didn't know about, but they blamed it on the wife.
I think they blamed the illness. Helena didn't know her dad.
Yeah.
So her dad had left. The parents have split up. Mom had moved on. Mom had remarried. Stepfather and mom, beautiful couple. Helena was her only child. But looking at the long family line, Helena's mother seemed to be the only kind of, breadwinner, or, the most influential person in the family. Out of nothing, she died. Yeah? She got ill and then she died, unexplainable. The stepfather died. Then Helena had no one. She came from Tema into my dad's village. And then I saw her deteriorate. I think something cracked in her mental health. She became depressed, understandably, when your mother passes. She became anxious. Then there was this gossip or this rumor about her being a witch. Okay. Unfortunately for her, her dad came from Ivory Coast with an illness also. So it seemed like one misfortune after the other,
But for some reason, it was put
her.
on her.
It was her. It was her that apparently was causing all this
So
misfortune.
this kind of happened more recent. This is not like a tale that you were told long time ago.
No,
This is
I
like
mean, I was
recent,
aware of it.
right?
We were just, junior secondary at
Right.
the time. So I stood back watching Helena being maltreated or ill-treated. She lost her confidence. She was acting odd. I knew it wasn't right, but look, I was also a child, so we all looked on. Unfortunately, she died, and when Helena died, everything was sent to her in her coffin and buried. No funeral was done. I remember discussing this with my dad. This is grim. This is not right. My dad was like, "This is Ghana, So that kind of gingered me to, do something, do something for people,
Yes.
understand mental health,
Yes.
what was going on, why do certain people believe certain things, and why do certain things happen to certain people? Why are certain people not strong? Can it happen to us? Can it, you know what I mean? So when I came to England, I looked into what career should I go into. Now I had an education degree back from Ghana as well, and I did a bit of psychology. I did psychology. So then I decided to go into social work and maybe get an insight into society, how we are socialized, why people behave, why they do or what they do. Why do certain people value themselves more than others? Why, why,
Sure.
why,
So
why?
In just understanding that, what I really want to understand, what is the issues we have from an African background? What are the main things you're seeing? Because you shared with me just like some of the mental health issues that we suffer from. There's still mental health issues, but the root of it seems to be slightly different.
It's our socialization.
Right.
It depends on our socialization and understanding. Okay, so for the African society, our upbringing and religion goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Most of the time, I'm sure we can all, share this when you are struggling with life in general. The best advice anyone can give you, your parents, is go pray. Nobody will advise you to maybe go and speak to a counselor. It's like a forbidden thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So even when you are in a marriage, things are not good. Sometimes it's good to talk. The older person that you are going to speak to, maybe it's as corrupt as whatever. But at times it's good to go and speak to a neutral person, a counselor, somebody who has a professional training to understand you from a neutral point of view. But for the African, no, pray about it and keep quiet. It's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people.
Yes.
When you really wanted to talk about something, sometimes that's all you need.
Yes. Why is there such a stigma when we think of? When I break my leg, I go to the doctors, or if I have a tummy upset, I go to the doctor. But when it comes to the issues of the mind, why is there such a big resistance in our culture?
It's culture. It's our school of thought. Now, years ago in Ghana, if somebody was going into a family to marry, they look whether there was a mental health in the family, as if it's hereditary. You know what I mean? And if there is mental health in the family, well, no, you can't go marry there because we don't want to bring it. So there is that stigma. Society has not developed to the point where we accept that this is part of us. So I'm finding myself constantly educating people at home, my family, friends, whoever, that look, just as the heart can get heart problems, just as we can get cardiac arrest, just as we can break our leg, we can also have problems in the head, and it's perfectly normal. Yeah. Okay.
But one of the things I also noticed, and for me, I've struggled for periods in my life where I felt really, really down. I kind of find it really difficult to understand how, even as much as we're educated, how many degrees have I got? How many degrees have you got? We can still feel once we still in bondage to a lot of the things that we're taught culturally. Do that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Don't forget, sorry to cut you in, but right from the day you were born, okay, let's look at the African girl. You are supposed to be a mother. Yes. You are supposed to be a wife. You're supposed to be a girlfriend. You are supposed to act this way, talk this way, do this way. Yes. So you are almost put in this conditioned, okay? And if you are not able to meet that condition, it's almost like a failure.
Yes.
And then we all hate failing. Yes. We are learning that failure is part of growth and it's good. But we all hate failing. We all hate to disappoint our parents. We all hate to disappoint. We all, even if society isn't judging you, that's why we fail. Yes. That's how we feel. We feel they are judging us. then depression sets in, then anxiety sets in. But and then religion.
Yes.
You go to church that Jesus is supposed to take all our problems.
Yes.
You know, and you are told. I mean, if I started off from Sunday school.
Wife, you need to be a better wife.
You need to be a better wife. You need to be a better mother. You need to be a better this. Look, I started from Sunday school. I went to church every Sunday. Sunday school, you know, have to go to girls' fellowship. I was acting. I was Mary. I was acting Hagar. I remember all the things that we can recite it. And that is, we have to go through it. The moment you fault a little bit, or you just become human. Let me put it that way. You become human, you do something that is not godly. People look at you like, you fail. You feel judged. You feel, you know, we are conditioned to be perfect.
Yes.
We are conditioned to be this. Now, then look at the African boy. You know, when you were a boy, I remember my dad telling my brother, you know, you need to really take your work seriously. You need to take your studies seriously, because you have a lot of problem, because you've got all sisters. They will come to you with the problem. So I need to focus on you. You need to get your master's degree. You need to get your doctorate. The girls will have problems and they will come to you. So the rest of us were immediately not as significant.
Yes.
He has to be.
He was signaling that
he's the leader.
Yes.
He's the leader.
You are on this level and they are at this level. So he was already doing that. And I'm not sure they were trying to do it to be nasty or mean to you.
No.
But the lasting effect is that you always putting yourself, like I can relate that. You're always feeling not quite good enough.
Of course. I mean, and when this year, when my mom died.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so rest in peace.
Thank you. And we went home. I mean, the date was fixed. I wanted a certain way, but the rest of the sisters were like, no, Kojo says this. Kojo is the last, but he's the only boy. But because Kojo says this date, we all had to go. Okay, Kojo says we are doing it here. Kojo says we are doing it. Suddenly he's taking the role of the leader in the family. But
your sisters, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of them are still, some of them are based in America, or back home, or in America. You kind of almost see that as, why is that happening? But how do they transmit that? Do they just accept that as normal, or that's the way it is? And how do you cope with their acceptance of that's the way it is?
That's the way it is. I challenge at times, and at times, if you challenge too much, you become controversial.
Yes,
you know what I mean. You become
the outsider.
Yes,
and there's this yearning for belonging.
Yes, and you know, no matter how we are, family is big. Family is important in our lives, if you know what I mean. We all have friends, but at the end of the day, we go back to family. We need to live. We need to accept, and we need to respect. Also, going back to being an African, there is that thought of respecting authority. The boys are always the authority that we need to. It looks like after my dad, he's the boy. He's the leader. That's how it is.
How does that play out in your workplace? Do you find that when you have anybody in authority, because of that strong conditioning from childhood, being in the Western world, how does that play out at all at your workplace?
It is in the workplaces. I've seen friends, I've seen colleagues who have challenged and you don't get anywhere. You really don't. I mean, that's the reality of life. You know, we have all been conditioned to respect authority, and I think it's okay to respect authority. If just that we as African women, one, we are disadvantaged anyway. Your white colleagues might not, you know, they will be able to challenge more. We don't. Okay, the moment you challenge, and I've seen some colleagues who have wanted to stand up and talk, and then they've gone to managerial positions and they are not getting it. They are not. And then the feedback we get is maybe not direct feedback, but from peer feedback is, maybe you should tone it down a bit. You know what I mean? Or else we see our white colleagues, females who challenge equally. but then they are seen as strong leaders,
Yes.
and then they sailed through. We don't,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
So do you think this should I say this issues are some of the things that cause a lot of us Africans to fall into mental health issues?
Mental health, let's look at poverty as well. Okay. So when we look at Black people in England go back to history, but we are still also very young. Society we are disadvantaged in many ways. Now, try not to be controversial or try not to be. We have different categories of Black people. We have the African Black and we have the Caribbean Black. Do you understand? We are disadvantaged, and we also at times, not all the time, at times put ourselves at a disadvantage areas. Yeah. Now, society is there for us. The way we are brought up coming to, people just don't get up and behave in the atmosphere and be who they are. You or something. We have seen a lot of people with mental health, especially from our African environment, plays a bigger role. Environment. I'm not saying that people in affluent areas don't get mental health, they do. But usually where we find ourselves, your kids are likely to maybe fall into bad crowd, Parents are working so hard, they are not there, especially when our kids are getting to the teenage years where they need a lot of guidance.
Yes.
We are working, we are not there. Before you know, you've lost your child.
But then a lot of Africans go to church. So do you think that Christian support's not there, or?
The Christians, most people don't know what to do. Most people don't know what to do. We need to, as much as we pray, we also need to accept. Some people don't. Like, I listen to a lot of African preachers, and sometimes you can see real psychosis happening. You can see it. People are using it as a prophecy, and I'm like, for God's sake, this is clear sign of psychosis, clear sign of paranoia.
What do you mean?
Usually, when people get a mic and they've gotten the whatever it is, they've gotten the platform to talk. Sometimes when you can sit back and with your professional experience listen to it, you can see that something is not right. But
so is it the preachers or an individual who's coming up?
Most Africans
sharing their issues with the congregation? Is that what you're talking about?
I mean, we believe in prophecy.
Yes.
We believe in people seeing, having third eyes and all that. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's psychosis. Yeah.
Wow.
Psychosis can happen out of anything. Usually when people are in hardship, people can have, psychosis out of depression or out of hardship.
Yes.
We shouldn't also rule out the effect of drugs, which is rampant in our community, especially in the poor areas. It is there. Society is hard. For our kids, we need to, we should be able to dare to nurture them. Parenting doesn't stop. It's continuous, but we are not there. We are working.
So it's a bit hard, because you're saying even in the workplace, we face challenges, so we've got to work hard. But then in the home front, we still need to be there for the children. They're facing challenges in their schools. So what would you say to somebody? What would you say to somebody who's in a situation now thinking, okay, I know all this, but what is the solution?
The solution is about one family connection is important. We also seeking the right help. Religion is super. I'm a strong Christian. You are, but we should also not rule out conventional medication when you have a problem. Go and see support. Try counseling is number one, but not just from anyone. Some people who are additional counseling have their own problem. So you have to know where you are going. I think that counseling and all that have to. We need to also be talking about these things in our churches and educating people. Education is number one.
Yes.
Education. We need it. My eyes have opened so much working in mental health. There was so much I didn't know. There was so much I didn't know. I work in general hospital as well as a social worker, and so many illnesses that I came across in here that was treated that back home, they would have allocated it to spiritual. It was shocking, people were coming with epilepsy and all that, and they were being treated. Whereas back in Ghana, epilepsy was seen as, some spiritual things, some cares. I've seen people coming in with gangrene, even if it's not treated, they were managing it. Whereas back home, gangrene is like, they've been cares. So we need to look at these things. It's education, understanding, education, read, get knowledge, do your research, ask questions. Mental health is real. It's not a case.
And I don't think it's not just among people from those socioeconomic groups.
No,
it's also everyone. And one of the things that we talked about is like some of the things that conflict in how we're raised. Now we're facing issues that those beliefs and values that were installed in us cannot work for our current life.
No.
And the conflict in that sometimes can bring a period of deep depression.
I mean, look, we should not in any way rule out that the values that we were given have helped us.
Yes, absolutely.
It's as for us, for me, when I look at ourselves, it's kept us all rounded, grounded, it's kept us safe, stable. But sometimes they also conflict, Sometimes I have to, for myself, because I was raised that very traditional African Ghanaian, have huge modesty, you shouldn't, you mustn't hurt, you must be seen. Sometimes I struggle with raising my kids in England.
Yes.
So when they're able to challenge them, I'm like, well, okay, I wasn't like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Men, society. I remember my parents when I killed. You know what I mean? My mom would, talk about it when the children are not here. Or else here I'm constantly saying when I grew up in England, guys like women to be able to voice out their feelings.
Yes.
Here my kids will go to school and come back and say, Mom, we are encouraged to talk about our feelings and tell how we are feeling, and if we don't like something, we have to be assertive. And I'm, whoa, I didn't know about this assertiveness. Because
borderline cheeky.
Exactly. We weren't brought up like that. We were brought up like, okay, don't be heard.
Children are not seen but not heard.
Not heard. I remember, going to all girls Catholic school, boarding school, the first thing you are given is courtesy for boys and girls. You have to be courteous, you have to so you have to do this, you have to do that. And that is so deep ingrained in us, And therefore, when you bring that here, you are seen as timid.
Yes.
I remember when I came to England, when somebody is being introduced to me, I get up and I, shake their hands. And then a few times I'm questioning, why do you get up for them? As if it's something wrong. But then I thought that was courteous. I thought that was being mannered, being cultured. At times when you are, when it's a guy and you are trying to be a bit polite, they think you are flirting. And it's so conflicting. And I just going home thinking, oh God, I was only being polite. So yeah. So,
wow. So we've unpacked a lot of issues on our values, the way we look at mental health, how to seek help, get education, move away from the whole religion as a cure to some of our issues. So we talk about a lot of things and how the way we were raised and can influence how we behave in this society, in the Western society.
And
so
letting go. And we shouldn't forget about also that letting go.
What do you mean by that?
So letting go at times, we all like to, and I know this is going to cause a bit of controversy, we all like to understand our culture. And I know it's easier said than done. Understand our roots. We shouldn't forget about slave trade and all that. But equally, the world is there for us to grow up.
Yes.
Yeah, opportunities.
Absolutely. I love that because it's a little bit like if we look at mobile phones. From the first time we had a mobile phones were massive. But as time has gone, it's been updated and updated. Even our software gets updated how regularly. And this thing you're saying about letting go, I think for me, is so true. The things that serve us, we need to take them.
Yeah.
But the things that no longer serve us, we need to
just need
update
to,
and let go.
Respectfully,
Absolutely.
just put it back. So, for example, I don't live in London. I cannot. I love London. I love to go and work. I love the bars and the shops and the modern the style and everything in London, the multiculturalism. But I can't live there.
Yeah.
I just work there and I come back and live in the country. So when usually I have friends coming from London, they're like, why do you live here? And you have to bring the children to be in touch in their culture and don't forget about their roots and slave trade and what the British government did to Black way. And it's all good. Look, it's all good. And I'm not underestimating the importance. And my roots is Ghana. I take the kids to Ghana. They love it. They love to walk barefooted. They love to eat. They love to go to the hotel. They love to go to the villages. It's absolutely fantastic. On the other side, we should not be stuck. Okay, because otherwise you can easily be drawn into what they've done to our forefathers. Those are gone. I'm not saying it should be eradicated. It's not at all. It's there. It should be a push for us to go forward. When you go to Ghana, I'm sure when you go to Nigeria, we have forefathers who have fought for us to make society better for us. We have people fighting for the First World War, Second World War, shedding blood for us. This should be a stepping stone for us to get on and be pushed. I mean, like, racism is there, yes. I would not say personally I've been discriminated against. But I know that we are limited in certain opportunities. However, I cannot personally say that there is something that I've put my eyes on or my heart in that I haven't achieved. You can't achieve anything.
Yes.
It's about making sure that we don't limit ourselves because of people's experiences. Yeah. Just grab it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And on that note, thank you so much, Nana. We'll definitely be having you back for more issues. We'll really be talking. We talk raw here. We talk openly. And we respect that people will have different opinions to what we share. None of these opinions are what we think is gospel truth. But we're hoping that in some of the things we share here, something will light a fire in your heart or give you some answers or make you feel like you're not alone, that it's not unique to you what you're going through, or unique to somebody else that is going through some issues, or perhaps it will give you some tools to be able to move your life forward. This has been, my name is Okoje Okonkwo, and I'm all about spreading love and really giving hope to our African professional women in the UK and hopefully in the diaspora, anyone that's outside their home country. We love you. We hope you have a lovely day, and we haven't got the time because our kids are like, we want to come in. We want to hear what's going on. But I hope that's been useful. Please drop me a line if there's anything you want me to investigate or share or get someone to share something for you. I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to support you. I'm here for you guys to live your best dream. Hope that's been useful. Nice talking. Have a nice evening. Bye.